Okay, so what I can't fully show you is how to install the Hyper-V server. Because this box is virtualized, I can't install a virtualization on it. I mean, that's like endless mirrors. You know how you put two mirrors facing each other and they go on forever? We can't do that. So I'm going to take you through step by step, though, but at some point I'm going to have to stop because I'll actually get a failure, but you will continue on to install the Hyper-V role. So how do we install Hyper-V? It's very easy. We're going to go through and add a role or a feature. I'm going to hit Next. It's going to be a role-based installation. Hit Next. Asks for the server. It's our EH host machine. And the role we're going to install is Hyper-V. It tells me that it needs to install some additional tools for Hyper-V to work, and those are going to be our GUI-based tools as well as a PowerShell environment for Hyper-V. I'm going to hit Add the feature. And this is where it's going to tell me here that it can't be installed. You will just simply continue to hit Next, take the defaults. Let me jump out to a screenshot here for you, so hang on a second. So after you select that as a role to install, you'll be then presented with basically a summary screen of about what you're about to do. You're going to go ahead and select Next. It'll then go through and try to identify the network adapter that's on your host machine. If you don't see one listed here, it's because you need to install a driver for that NIC. We're going to use this NIC, or what's the concept here is that virtual machines can actually gain access to the public network or outside of the virtual environment using a network interface. Hyper-V just needs to be aware of it. So you're going to select your NIC. It then is making some assumptions about the fact that you may be trying to do a migration, or you may want to support what they refer to as live migrations, where you can have one Hyper-V virtual machine move from one server to another Hyper-V server. You don't need to worry about this. This is not a Hyper-V class. That's not what we're trying to accomplish here. So you just leave the defaults, which is not to select the checkbox. And then finally, it's going to show you your default store locations. Where do you want to put the virtual machines, as well as where do you want to put the configuration files? And you can change these up if you want. Maybe point them to the directory of your CEH project folder, or you can leave it here as well. If this again was a Hyper-V class, we would teach you to do something a little bit different. So it's going to require a restart, and maybe two restarts. And what's happening during these restarts is it goes through and takes the parent OS, which is the OS you just installed, and in between it and the actual hardware, it places what we refer to as a hypervisor, which in our case is Hyper-V. And what this does for us is it allows, in this case then, for the hardware to interact that's hosted on the host OS to be accessible to the child partitions or the child operating systems or the virtualized machines without having to recreate them over and over. We actually just use the same drivers. Whatever drivers are loaded on the host machine get utilized. So long as the virtual machines are supported by Hyper-V, they should use the same drivers, and it's really, really quite smooth. So that's what you're doing. And you can always uninstall Hyper-V if you want to as well. Since the release of this course, Microsoft has come out with some additional OSs that have Hyper-V built into them. It used to be limited just to the server platform, and that was Server 08, 2012, and of course 2016 has it. But since Windows 8, 8.1, and of course Windows 10, the Pro and Enterprise editions now support Hyper-V as well, and installing them is just as easy. So whether you use Server 2012, 2016, 08, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, or Windows 10, it doesn't matter. Even a Mac version running Fusion, if you'd like. It doesn't matter so long as you get to some virtualization is my whole goal here for you.